Hi guys, welcome back to another video by mykayaplus. So today's topic or today's company will revolve, I would say, one of the more popular ones in the Malaysia Stock Exchange. We will be talking about Capital A, AAX, and how the merger, so-called saga, or how everything transpires, right? So a lot of people are still quite confused on how the entire merger will happen. So today we will try to break it down as simple as possible by using storytelling method and also the graphical and pictorial way to help you understand more. So I'll pass it on to Chun Beng. I think Chun Beng would be the one maybe asking the questions on top of or from the audience perspective, and I'll try my best to bring you all through uh for what have happened and to what will happen.
Yeah, so I think before we really start, as usual, a quick disclaimer. All the information shared here is just for reference purposes. Please don't take this as a buy or sell decision. Uh,
Yeah.
Please go through some due diligence before you make any investment decision. So I think the key topic for today, if you search around the internet, the key title will be Capital A wanted to do some restructuring, as
Yeah.
simple as that. And then you will see Capital A being mentioned, AirAsia X being mentioned, and AirAsia Group also being mentioned. So I think this is a bit confusing. Maybe Jupan, you want to do a quick walkthrough on what is the grand plan that Tony Fernandez has in mind.
So I think this picture you see right here is mainly what is going to be happening, right? So Capital A, as we all know, it's a diversified company in terms of business offering. So we have the main business, which is the aviation group. So you have AirAsia group inside there, and these are the so-called short flights. So flights that are under 4 hours. So flights to say, for example, Indonesia, Thailand. So we call it short haul flight, Philippines and within Malaysia. So short haul flights are all controlled by currently Capital A, whereas for the long haul flights beyond 4 hours is under AirAsia's, AAX, right? So for Capital A, they own all the routes for the short term one. They also have e-commerce, the AirAsia Super App. They also have the logistic arm, which is teleport, financial services, big pay, and also other smaller like arms like Santan, your other small ones. So the main picture or the main contributor of the revenue still comes from the aviation group, right? And how much is that, you might be asking, right? But we go to that later. But we have to bring you back to during COVID time, what happened to both Capital A and AirAsia's, and not just these two airline company, but I think in totality, airline companies around the world, if you still remember, all got into some sort of trouble. And Singapore Airlines were in trouble, Delta was in trouble, Southwest was in trouble. Basically, we were not traveling back during the lockdowns, right? So airline companies around the world were into trouble. And if you want to just zoom and focus on to what happened to both Capital A and AirAsia, so Capital A became a PN17 company in July 2020. It is still a PN17 company right now, so it needs SOS ASAP, right? Conversely, the sister AirAsia's became a PN17 company in July 2020, but no longer right now today. So it became PN17 in July 2020, but in November 2023, exited PN17 after reporting net profit. So AJAX no longer, Capital A is still PN17. So something must be done to lift Capital A out of the PN17 status. And what is the grand plan? The grand plan is to actually use AAX to buy over the aviation group business from Capital A. So the red portion that we see right here, 91% of total revenue of Capital A for the latest fiscal year, yeah, you're going to sell that portion totally to AirAsia's. So that is the grand plan.
Yeah, I think the question will be if this is going to happen, meaning Capital A is no longer an aviation company, left with all the other stuff as a super app and so on.
Yeah.
And then maybe the next question potential people will check is how much they're going to get from these sales, and how much AsiaX is going to do this as a whole.
Yeah.
Maybe Jupan, you
Yeah.
can cover the thing quickly.
Okay, so bear in mind, the entire revenue for aviation part for Capital A is 13.5 billion ringgit, right? So that's 91%. So AAX is just gonna pay 6.8 billion for the entire aviation arm of Capital A. So they're going to use 6.8 billion to buy something that can earn 13.5 billion, right? So it'll be a very good deal on paper for AsiaX, because if you take 13.5 divided by 6.8, I think it's just a little bit over 0.5 price to sales ratio, right? So this is considered a very good deal on paper, because straight away 6.8 billion can buy additional 13.5 billion of revenue, right? This is assuming no growth, right? If there's growth, of course, the ratio would be far lesser and far more cheaper, right? So this is one aspect or one side of the story if you look at it from that perspective. But concurrently, if you look at the entire side of the story, which is if you want to look at the market cap of Capital A Berhad, you can see that as of latest, this screenshot, which is today, where Capital A Berhad is trading at 86 Malaysian cents per share, the market cap is 3.64 billion. So, which means that if you are someone who has 7 billion and you don't let AAX take over AirAsia, Capital A, you can just pay 3.64 billion to buy the entire Capital A. Sounds very mind-blowing. On one hand, you see that Capital AAX is actually paying 6.8 billion to buy something worth 13.5 billion in terms of revenue. But on the other hand, you can actually buy the whole Capital A with just less than 4 billion ringgit. So there is two discrepancy from both sides of the coins right here.
Yeah, I think probably why it will go down to this number, you will basically link it to the TN17 status. And then, of course, due to all these things financially having problem, reflect here and there. That's why the investor is not having the confidence. And of course, that's the reason why it's so-called undervalued by number perspective. But again, actually, this is not the end yet. So you have all this number, and then what will happen next is, I think it's quite interesting, but it's a bit hard to swallow if you read through all the different articles. Probably Japan will share. After AsiaX, let's say buy over the aviation part from Capital A, what's next?
Yeah, so I think it's very easy to just know what will happen. So basically, previously everything was split. You have AAX doing the long haul, and you have AAJ Group doing the short haul. So now AAX, if they buy over the short haul flight, they will control the entire airline business of Capital A and the entire Asia brand. So automatically, AAX will become AirAsia Group, right? So because there's a lot of using of AirAsia name, but behind, because it's X, it's Berhad, etc. So you might get confused. But in essence, because AX is going to buy the entire aviation business from Capital A, it will become naturally AirAsia Group. So it will become the company that controls or has whole power of all the flights, be it long haul, short haul. So AX will become AirAsia Group. Whereas for Capital A, it will remain as Capital A for the time being, but it has transformed from an aviation company with some sort of, up and coming tech aspects to it, the logistics, the digital initiatives, etc. But because they sold off the aviation arm, so it becomes a tech company already, right? It's 100% tech company, maybe with 18% ownership of Asia Group because of the post-restructuring process, and also the shareholding structure. So it will still own around 18% of Asia Group, but the remaining 82% is mainly going to be coming from the services, logistics, IP, and also digital. Yeah, so this is how
That's
everything is evolving for both companies.
you mentioned about like Capital A trying to be lightweight but letting
Yep,
go the cash cow, which is the one
yep,
bringing a majority of the revenue up to 91%.
yep.
Actually, is there any plan that announced in the news or whatnot that what's the plan after become lightweight? What they plan to do? What Tony Fernandez plan to do? What he plan to bring the next big thing for Capital A?
So there are rumors that Capital A will seek a SPAC merger, reverse merger, and get listed on the US stock exchange, right? So that means that without the PN17 baggage or liability, and showing that it is mainly a tech company, then therefore when they issue out prospectus and when they want to sell the company to go IPO, or in this case a reverse SPAC listing, then it will show that, wow, this is a full-fledged tech company. It is going to be an ecosystem within the tourism and travel. So if you have been using AirAsia's new app Move, or I would say rebrand of their current app, they basically let you do everything, right? From booking flights to booking your airport transfers from the airport to the city. And also, you can also do hotel booking as well. So they want to do something in the sense like trip.com, but covering from flight and to everything related to tourism and travel.
Yeah, this one I remember because there's one day I received an email saying Asia is now moved and
Yeah,
then no longer using the traditional red color,
yeah,
use another brand color, which now you explain why Tony Fernandez has all this move together with
yeah,
all this merger, which is quite interesting. But I guess those are still rumors, nothing finalized yet. Then
yeah.
probably from general public, we may have another question is we talk about AirAsia X plan to use 6.8 billion ringgit to take over the aviation arm from Capital A.
Yeah.
How, where the money will come from?
So I think what AAX will do, they are basically going to do what Tony Fernandez did back then. So remember the famous story where Tony Fernandez bought AirAsia using RM1, right? So basically, he paid RM1, he take over Asia, he bought Asia, but he also bought all the debt back then that Asia had, right? So this is going to be part two of that story, where the 6.8 billion needed to buy Asia Group, 3 billion will come from shares, right? So AAX will undergo private placements to raise 3 billion, and will be in the form of 2.31 billion shares at 1 ringgit 30 cents each, right? So they will use that to acquire Asian Aviation Group Limited. So the balance 3.8 to buy AirAsia Group, which is what the short haul flight that's currently owned by Capital A. So the debt will actually carry forward to AAX. So since AAX is willing to buy and take over the business, so it also means that they are taking over the debt responsibility. So they are the ones who is actually owing money or become the debtee, right? So it's basically just transferring the debt from AirAsia Group to AX. So it's the same story as how Tony Fernandez bought AirAsia back then. He paid with 1 ringgit, but he took over all the debt. Yeah. So this is the 2.0 version of how you actually transfer debt from one company to another.
Yeah, but the prerequisite is basically the 3 million private placement need to happen first, which is still
Yep.
in progress, nothing concrete
Yep.
yet. So think of it,
Yep.
eventually Capital A will receive 6.8, but then
Yep.
3 is through private placement. 3.8 will be in debt, but then the
Yep.
new owner, which is AirAsia themselves, called AirAsia
Yep.
Group, will be the
Yep.
one that inherit this debt. So I think it's quite interesting. Probably something that already done before. That's why Tony Fernandez is very familiar with all the different tactics. But
Yeah.
again, I think that we cannot say this is magic. Essentially, it's just some way to move the thing around.
Yeah.
And of course, if you are the shareholder of, let's say, Asia X, or Capital A, then you'll be confused. While finding out all this information, then you wanted to know, then what happened to my share? Actually, this is a very good chart shared by
Yeah, it's a
the
good
Age
question.
on what will happen post aviation merger. Maybe Jupan want to take us through.
Yeah, so I think you need to read it one part as one part. So let's start with AAX. So if you are currently an AAX shareholder, so you consider yourself as AAX minority shareholder because you are not Tony Fernandez, you are not Dato Kamarudin, right? So you are a small fish, small ikan bilis shareholder. So you are the existing AAX minority shareholder. Post merger, you will become the shareholder of AirAsia Group. So basically, from owning just a company that controls the long haul flight, so you now own the entire airline company of Asia. So short haul, long haul, everything, you are the owner already. So the good thing is that short haul flight historically has been more profitable compared to the long haul flight. So it's a good thing from that aspect that the new Asia Group will be a better company from profit margin perspective if things go well and history shows the track record carries over. Right. Of course, there will still need to be placement for the raising the capital. So if that goes through, then of course for existing Capital A minority shareholders, which is at the top left corner. So because capital have been raised to buy over the aviation business of Capital A, right? So money will be pumped from channel from AirAsia Group, currently AAX, back to Capital A. And instead of getting a dividend, right, as an Capital A share minority shareholder, you will be getting a portion of share as in the company of AirAsia Group. Because the whole exercise is to help Capital A, save Capital A from their PN17 status, which is from the balance sheet point of view, they have lost too much, retained profit, and that is why they're categorized there. So the company Capital A need money to escape from PN17 status. So, but from the money obtained, instead of giving it out as dividend, they will actually, issue a dividend in specie. So you will own a part of AirAsia Group, and you still own some portion of Capital A. So you eventually own two companies, Capital A and also AirAsia Group, and your Capital A also owns 18.4% of AirAsia Group. Right, so that is basically the gist. If you are a current Capital A shareholder and if you are a current AX shareholder. So the other part which we are waiting for, things to unfold is that Capital A will eventually, list Capital A International on the US stock exchange, as I mentioned just now. So that one, only news. We don't know how things will happen, and we are also not sure that whether Capital A, the remaining Capital A, is going to remain, and its valuation will be tagged along with the valuation of Capital A on the US stock exchange. So this is still a question mark as of now.
Yeah, so I think we try to make it short and simple, but unfortunately, when we basically check out the thing ourselves, we also got confused by all these different Asia related names. So in short, the merger is going to happen to consolidate all the airline under one company, which eventually will become AirAsia Group. And then Capital A, on the other hand, will be the technology focused company that plan to list in US. I mean, this is the key takeaway. But probably, other than all this fact sharing, Jupan, any final verdict you wanted to share on your view on this merger, whether it's a good move? Sounds to be win-win to me in a lot of sense. Capital A get to escape from PN17. AirAsia X, which eventually will become AirAsia Group, own the whole aviation group, where focus everything under one hand. And of course, from the shareholder perspective, if let's say you are Capital A, you now technically can own from Asia Group and also Capital A. Sounds like a win-win situation for everyone.
It does sound like a win-win situation for everyone. But I think if you look at the whole situation as it is, then yes. But if you look back, what actually made things happen and transpire till today, then I think back then there were a few missteps that have actually put Capital A into trouble, and only then today there are these kind of measures to save Capital A from PN17. So, but you can't go back in time and penalize the management back then for what they did back then, right? So it's just that it looks good right now, and hopefully the only hopeful thing that I can think of is that things go through smoothly, and Capital A of that is listed on Bursa still has a valuation tag to the US counterpart, and the US counterpart, if it goes up, then it will still benefit, and has spillover effect to Capital A listed on Malaysia Stock Exchange. So I think that is it for now. Yeah, so might have a part 2 if we do come across new developments and new news, but that is for it right now for what is happening for both companies. So let us know in the comments if you are a current AAX shareholder, or if you are current Capital A shareholders. Do you like the deal? Do you not like the deal, and why? And if there are still uncertainty, or if you are still lost, we are more than happy to break it down in the comment section for you. So I think that's it for today and for this video. We will see you in the next one. Take care. Bye bye.